Hey guys, Joyboy here. Got a new microphone and also got a new theory for y'all. This one is going to be a theory that I think is really cool. However, after I came up with the theory, as I do with all my theories, I quickly Google it to see if someone else has come up with a similar idea. And in most cases, it's kind of hard to find, but in this case, I found somebody who had already done the theory, so I'm going to make sure to give them credit, but this is going to be looking more at sharing a very cool idea at the very least. So this theory centers largely around the popular community belief that Vegapunk is a revolutionary. I believe this, and I believe this really for one simple reason above all other reasons, which is that Vegapunk personally programmed Kuma to protect the Straw Hat ship. To me, this action is best explained by Vegapunk being a revolutionary, and it clearly to me implies that Kuma has some sort of relationship with Vegapunk, that he feels comfortable in sharing one of his desires with Vegapunk, so that even with Kuma not being able to control himself and losing all his memories, he trusted Vegapunk to program into him this desire to protect the Straw Hat ship, the Thousand Sunny, while they were on their 2-year time skip. And I really think that this is the best proof out there that Vegapunk is actually a revolutionary, or at the very least is good friends with Kuma. And then when we start to look at Vegapunk's character, he does not appear to be a character who has any malicious intent. He actually seems to be a decent human being, somebody who's truly capable of seeing the actions of the world government as being harmful to the world and want to seek to make a better place like the revolutionaries are trying to do. And so going back to Kuma, it's stated specifically by Ivankov that Kuma hates the world government. And it's baffling to Eva why he decided to give up his memories. We also learn from Dragon that Dragon has an explanation for Ivankov as to why Kuma is doing this. We don't actually get to see this explanation, but it highly implies that it's all part of the plan, that Dragon had a plan and Kuma is executing it. So Kuma losing his memories isn't something that concerns the revolutionaries. And so what I think that we can take from this is that if Kuma hates the world government and he's willingly gave up his memories in order to be part of the science division that created the Pacifista, which is a mechanical army for the world government, that I think that this will have some role for the future of the revolutionary army. So before I get into my next point, I want to mention briefly a theory by Beck. And what's awesome about this theory is Beck noticed this cool little detail about Ivankov in Impel Down, which is that Ivankov didn't actually want to leave Impel Down. He was waiting purposefully in Impel Down. And then later on we see from Dragon sort of get hints of the plans of the Revolutionary Army, which is that he first mentions that in the future they're planning on gathering the revolutionary commanders who are spread across the world. And then later on in chapter 803 we see that it's now actually time to get those revolutionary commanders. And so I believe in Beck's idea, which is Beck says that each of these revolutionary commanders were placed in specific locations and were ready to be called on for this revolutionary war that's going to eventually get started. And so for Ivankov, he was placed in Impel Down because I guess there's probably some plan to break out some prisoners from Impel Down, maybe Revolutionary Army people that were in Impel Down, but that until the time was right, Eva-chan was supposed to stay there. And the same would be applied to Kuma. Kuma being a Shishibukai, having access to Mary Joa, and having gained the trust of the world government. We also know that Don Quixote do Flamingo, somebody who knows pretty much everything that goes on in the world, has absolutely no idea the connection between Ivankov and Kuma, suggesting he doesn't even know Kuma's history as being part of the revolutionaries. So I truly believe that Kuma was placed specifically in his location for the future revolutionary war that Dragon plans to start, and that I think that that it's really baffling then why Kuma would get rid of all of his memories and his personality. this is why I think that his memories and his personality are not completely gone, that he can somehow get them back, which is that if he truly hates the world government and he is a revolutionary all the way up until the point that he consciously made the decision to lose all of his memories, he was in the perfect position to make a difference in the world. He had infiltrated the world government, he had infiltrated the Marines, and he was in a very powerful position. I also think that he was one of these revolutionary commanders that Dragon plans on calling up. And this coincides with the lack of concern Dragon has for Kuma's situation and how much he's changed in the past few years. So if I look at Kuma, and I imagine that it's possible that he may somehow regain his consciousness, regain his memories, regain his personality, it really starts to make me wonder that if the Pacifista are designed after Kuma, then maybe they could potentially also receive Kuma's personality, memories, and history. And so this is the theory that I wanted to talk about more than anything. That was created initially from Gobi129 on Marineford forums. And his post is actually really well formatted. I really enjoyed reading it. But I think that he is completely spot on with this particular analysis. That I think what's going to happen is that something similar to, if anyone's seen the third Star Wars movie, sorry if there's spoilers for this, the third Star Wars movie, where the clones who were originally fighting for the Republic ended up switching over to the Empire. And so we see that in the future movies, they're actually under the control of the Emperor. And so I think something similar might happen here, but actually opposite of what actually happened in that particular movie, which is that I think the Pacifista, as the huge fighting force within the world government, was created by the revolutionary Vegapunk, using the body and mind of the revolutionary Kuma, and that one day there will be a switch that will be flipped, that will upload all the personality and the memories of Kuma into every single one of the Pacifistas. And this will tie directly into this upcoming revolutionary war that is about to be started. Some of you won't remember this, but this was news of about 8 months ago, which is that there was this show, I don't actually remember what it's called, they toured Oda's office, and inside the office there was various clues. I saw this actually on Roger's Base. He did a video about it. And so the coolest thing from this particular video was that we got to see Oda's secret notebooks, or the covers of Oda's secret notebooks, where he, I guess, had planned out future arcs. And some of the arcs that we saw at the time was Zoe, and then we saw Gear 4th, and then we also saw 2 future arcs. One would be Whole Cake Island, which is this arc that seems to be coming up right now, and the other one was the Revolutionary Army arc. And so I think right now we're building up to a Revolutionary Army arc. We see that Blackbeard has attacked the Revolutionary Army camp at Baltigo. I do not think Dragon is defeated. In fact, I don't think the Revolutionaries were even defeated in that battle. I think that they left before Blackbeard could really do any damage to them. And so the plot is progressing, and also Dragon has called forth the various commanders around the world, which Beck believes, and I believe as well, were stationed waiting for a specific call, a specific purpose. And that includes Kuma. And so I think very soon here we're going to see that maybe the Pacifista are going to turn on the world government, and we'll see a revolutionary army versus world government arc. And when is that going to happen? I think that the Reverie is probably the first place that I would look for something like this. But yeah, I can totally see this happen. I can totally see the Pacifistas turning on the world government and then becoming a fighting force for the Revolutionary Army, and maybe even a fighting force for Luffy if the Revolutionary Army survives to this final arc of One Piece. But that's very much unclear at this moment. But I definitely think that this train of thought here is a really solid one. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you saw something about what I said that's wrong. Maybe you saw something that additionally supports my train of thought. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you're new and you want to be notified from my future videos. And as always, have a wonderful day.